Welcome everyone. In this lecture, we will turn to the practical aspects of setting up an IND submission to FDA. Before you can submit an IND, several administrative steps must be completed. These include obtaining a pre-assigned IND application number, establishing electronic connectivity with FDA's Electronic Submissions Gateway (ESG), and potentially conducting pre-IND consultation with FDA. These steps may seem administrative, but they are essential prerequisites for successful IND submission. Without a pre-assigned number, your submission cannot be properly tracked. Without ESG connectivity, you cannot electronically submit your IND in eCTD format. The pre-IND consultation, while not always mandatory, is highly recommended for complex development programs or novel therapeutic approaches. Early FDA engagement can prevent clinical holds and ensure your development program is designed to generate data FDA will find acceptable. Let's walk through each of these setup steps. This slide describes the first administrative step in IND setup, requesting a pre-assigned IND application number from FDA. Before you submit an IND, you need an IND number. This number identifies your application in FDA's tracking systems and must appear on FDA Form 1571 and throughout your submission. Step 1. Establish secure email. Before requesting an IND number, you should establish secure email capability with FDA. Contact secure email at fda.hhs.gov to set this up. Secure email encrypts communications containing sensitive or proprietary information. Step 2. Request the IND number. Send an email to request at fda.hhs.gov for drugs with the following information. Subject line: Request for a pre-assigned number. Required information: name of applicant exactly as it will appear on Form FDA 1571. Applicant address, complete street address, city, state, zip code. Name of U.S. contact person. Contact phone number, fax number, and email address. Name of the drug, generic or code name. Drug trade name if one has been established. Additional information for INDs. Indication being studied. Review division, if known. Specify commercial IND or research IND. Important, send only one email per application number request. Do not combine multiple requests in a single email. The response from FDA typically comes within 3 business days and will include your assigned IND number. This number format is typically IND followed by a 6-digit number, e.g., IND 123456. Keep this number carefully documented. You will need it for all future submissions and communications with FDA regarding this program. This slide continues the IND number request discussion with additional details. When requesting an IND number, you must specify the indication being studied. This helps FDA route your IND to the appropriate review division. While you may not always know the exact review division, providing the indication allows FDA to make the determination. If you do know the review division, perhaps from prior FDA interactions or from researching similar products, include that information to facilitate routing. The critical classification decision is whether this is a commercial IND or research IND. Commercial IND, select this if a pharmaceutical or biotechnology company is the sponsor. The ultimate goal is marketing approval. Data will support an NDA, BLA, or ANDA. Research IND, select this if an academic investigator or institution is the sponsor. There is no intent to commercialize. The study is for scientific research purposes only. This includes emergency use and expanded access INDs where commercialization is not the goal. The 3 business day turnaround for IND number assignment is an FDA goal. In practice, most requests are processed within this timeframe, but you should request your number early in the IND preparation process to avoid delays. Once you receive your IND number, use it consistently. On FDA Form 1571. In all correspondence with FDA. In the ECTD submission structure. On all study materials referencing the IND. The IND number is your program's identifier at FDA and will follow the development program through approval. This slide describes the process of establishing connectivity with FDA's Electronic Submissions Gateway, ESG. All ECTD submissions to FDA, including INDs, must be submitted electronically through the ESG. Before you can submit your first IND, you must establish this connectivity. FDA offers two connection methods. WebTrader, WT, this is a web-based portal designed for low-volume submitters. It allows users to log into a secure web interface, upload submission files, digitally sign submissions, view FDA acknowledgements and responses. WebTrader is appropriate for sponsors who submit infrequently, perhaps a few submissions per year. It requires no special software installation, you access it through a web browser. AS2, Applicability Statement 2, this is a system-to-system connection that allows automated submission transmission. AS2 requires gateway software installed at the sponsor's site. Technical configuration to connect with FDA's systems. Digital certificates for authentication. AS2 is appropriate for sponsors who submit frequently. Pharmaceutical companies may submit hundreds of INDs, amendments, and other submissions per year. The automated connection improves efficiency for high-volume submitters. For most companies managing INDs and NDAs, AS2 is the recommended approach. The setup process involves 1. Applying for a test account to verify your configuration. 2. Having FDA review and approve your test account. 3. Sending test submissions to verify everything works. 4. Setting up a production account. 5. Beginning actual submissions. This process can take several weeks, so begin early. Don't wait until your IND is ready to submit. This slide introduces the pre-IND consultation opportunity, an important tool for sponsors preparing their first IND. FDA encourages pre-IND meetings and has stated explicitly that these meetings can be very valuable in planning a drug development program. The quote on this slide comes from FDA's website discussing pre-IND consultations. Pre-IND meetings are classified as Type B meetings under FDA's meeting guidance, which means FDA targets scheduling the meeting within 60 days of receiving the request. Requests should be submitted in ECTD format. A meeting package with background information and questions is required. The value of pre-IND consultation includes 1. Clarifying FDA expectations. When guidance documents don't fully address your specific situation, FDA can provide direction tailored to your drug and development program. 2. Preventing clinical holds. By discussing your plans before IND submission, you can identify potential issues that might trigger a clinical hold and address them proactively. 3. Validating development strategy. FDA feedback can confirm that your non-clinical program, CMC approach, and clinical plans are appropriate, or suggest modifications. 4. Building relationship with FDA. Early engagement establishes a productive working relationship with the review division that will oversee your program. 5. Documenting FDA position. Meeting minutes document FDA's advice, which can be valuable if questions arise later in development. Pre-IND meetings are not mandatory, but they are highly recommended for novel drugs, complex development programs, or when sponsors are new to FDA interactions. The next slide discusses specific scenarios when pre-IND consultation is most beneficial. This slide elaborates on the benefits of pre-IND consultation and identifies scenarios where such meetings are particularly valuable. The timing noted 6 months or more before planned IND submission is important. Pre-IND meetings are most valuable when there is time to act on FDA's advice. If you meet with FDA and learn that additional studies are needed, you need time to conduct those studies before your planned IND submission. The potential benefits of pre-IND consultation include identifying and avoiding unnecessary studies. FDA may indicate that certain studies you planned are not required, saving time and resources. Ensuring necessary studies are designed correctly. FDA can review study designs before execution to ensure they will generate data FDA finds acceptable. Gaining FDA support for proposed strategy. Written FDA agreement with your approach provides valuable documentation. Minimizing clinical hold potential. Discussing potential concerns early allows you to address them before submission. Creative exchange of ideas. FDA scientists may suggest approaches you hadn't considered. Obtaining regulatory insight. Understanding FDA's perspective on your therapeutic area. Minimizing costs. By avoiding unnecessary work and preventing delays from clinical holds. Clearly defining endpoints and goals. Ensuring your clinical program is designed to support approval. Early negotiations with FDA. Building the relationship before the formal review process begins. Scenarios where pre-IND meetings are particularly recommended include products for serious or life-threatening diseases. The benefit-risk calculus may allow more flexibility. Novel indications, where there is no established regulatory pathway. Absence of relevant guidance, when guidance documents don't address your situation. Sponsors new to drug development, who benefit from FDA perspective on the process. Concerning pharmacologic or toxicologic signals that require discussion with FDA. New molecular entities, where the drug class is novel or unfamiliar. This slide explains the ESG submission process and the 3 acknowledgments that confirm successful submission. When you submit an IND through the Electronic Submissions Gateway, a sequence of events occurs. Step 1. You, the submitter, send the eCTD submission package to FDA via HTTPS, secure internet connection. This is either through WebTrader's web interface or through your AS2 gateway connection. Step 2. The ESG receives your submission and validates the digital signature. This ensures the submission has not been tampered with and verifies your identity as the submitter. Step 3. First acknowledgement receipt. ESG sends a receipt notification confirming it received your transmission. This is ACK1, the message delivery notification. It confirms your files arrived at FDA. Step 4. The submission is assigned a unique identifier, core ID, and transferred from ESG to the appropriate center's inbox, CDR for drugs, CBR for biologics. Step 5. Second acknowledgement, official center receipt. The center generates ACK2, the official center receipt. This confirms the submission was delivered to the center for processing. It includes details like file count, directory count, and timestamp. Step 6. The center's downstream systems validate the submission, checking eCTD structure, file formats, etc., and process it from the center inbox. Step 7 to 8. Third acknowledgement, assigned review division receipt. After validation and processing, the center generates ACK3, which confirms the submission was successfully processed into the CDR electronic document room and is available to the assigned review division. This includes the official receipt date. All 3 acknowledgements are important. ACK1 confirms technical delivery, ACK2 confirms center receipt, and ACK3 confirms successful processing and assignment. You should retain all acknowledgements in your regulatory files. This slide shows an actual example of the 3 ESG acknowledgements from a regulatory filing log. The example shows a submission for IND 151302, sequence number 0001, filed on October 19, 2021. First acknowledgement details. File name, receipt for IND 151302.tar.gz.txt. Status, delivered. Date, October 19, 2021, 11:58 and 54 seconds AM Eastern Standard Time. File size, 2 kilobytes. Submission message ID included. Sender, FDA. Recipient, the submitting company, Avalise Publishing in this example. Second acknowledgement details. From Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, CDR, U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Subject, acknowledgement of submission receipt. Confirms submission received from FDA Electronic Submissions Gateway, ESG, production. Account name verified. Message ID and core ID included. File count, 363. Directory count, 154. Date time receipt generated, October 19, 2021, 13 hours 6 minutes and 42 seconds. Time zone, Eastern. Notes that the date timestamp indicates when ESG delivered to CDR for processing. Third acknowledgement details. Official CDR seal/letterhead. Confirms submission was successfully processed into the CDER electronic document room. States it is available to the assigned review division. Application type/number, IND 151302. ECTD sequence number, 0001. Core ID, unique identifier. Notes that official receipt date is calculated per FDA guidance. Provides contact information for technical assistance and review division questions. This documentation is important for your regulatory files. It provides the official proof of submission and receipt date. We now move to one of the most critical sections of this lecture, IND forms and content. This section will cover the specific FDA forms required for IND submissions and the three major content areas that must be included in every IND: non-clinical data, manufacturing, CMC, information, and clinical protocols. Understanding the forms is essential because they serve as the administrative framework for the IND. Form 1571 is the cover sheet that identifies the submission type and contents. Form 1572 documents clinical investigator information. Form 3674 certifies compliance with clinicaltrials.gov requirements. The contents sections represent the scientific core of the IND. The non-clinical data demonstrates that the drug is reasonably safe for human testing. The CMC information ensures the drug product is properly characterized and consistently manufactured. The clinical protocols describe how human subjects will be studied and protected. Together, these elements form a complete IND that allows FDA to evaluate whether clinical trials should proceed. This slide provides an overview of the required IND components, both forms and content. The required FDA forms are FDA Form 1571, IND cover sheet, FDA Form 1572, Statement of Investigator, and FDA Form 3674, clinicaltrials.gov certification. The required content sections represent the scientific basis for the IND. Animal pharmacology and toxicology studies provides the non-clinical data package demonstrating that the drug is reasonably safe for the proposed clinical investigation. Manufacturing information, CMC, describes the drug substance and drug product, including manufacturing processes, characterization, specifications, and stability data. Clinical protocols and investigator information includes the protocols describing the proposed clinical studies and the investigator's brochure. This slide introduces FDA Form 1571, the IND application cover sheet. Form 1571 is the principal administrative document for IND submissions. Every submission to an IND, whether the initial submission, an amendment, a safety report, or an annual report, includes a completed Form 1571. The form captures several categories of information. Identification information, IND number, serial number, sponsor name and address, and date of submission. Drug information, name of investigational drug, established name, code name, and chemical name, indication being studied, and orphan drug designation status. Phase information, checkboxes indicating whether the submission covers Phase 1, Phase 2, or Phase 3 studies. Submission type, checkboxes indicating the type of submission: initial application, protocol amendment, information amendment, IND safety report, annual report, or response to clinical hold. Contents of application, itemized list, items 1 to 13, describing what is included in the submission. This serves as a table of contents. Commitment statement, the sponsor's signature attesting that the IND contains no untrue statements and that clinical studies will be conducted according to IND regulations. The form is available for download from FDA's website. Regulatory professionals should be thoroughly familiar with completing this form accurately. This slide describes FDA Form 1572, the Statement of Investigator. Form 1572 is completed by each clinical investigator who will participate in studies under the IND. It documents the investigator's qualifications and commitments. The form sections include: Section 1, Investigator Identification, name of investigator, address of clinical site, and contact information. Section 2, Education and Experience, reference to attached curriculum vitae documenting the investigator's qualifications to conduct the proposed research. Section 3, Sub-investigators, names and qualifications of other individuals who will assist in conducting the investigation. Section 4, Clinical Research Organizations, if the investigator uses a CRO for any trial-related duties, the CRO is identified here. Section 5, IRB information, name, address, and contact information for the Institutional Review Board that has reviewed and approved the protocol. The commitment checkboxes are critical. The investigator commits to conduct the study according to the protocol, personally conduct or supervise the investigation, inform subjects that drugs are used for investigational purposes, report adverse experiences, read and understand the investigator's brochure, ensure IRB compliance, maintain adequate records, ensure drug accountability, submit required reports. The investigator's signature indicates agreement to these commitments. Forms 1572 for all investigators must be submitted before they can participate in the study. This slide describes FDA Form 3674, the certification of compliance with clinicaltrials.gov requirements. Form 3674 was mandated by Section 801 of the FDA Amendments Act of 2007, FDAA. This law expanded requirements for clinical trial registration and results reporting on clinicaltrials.gov. The form requires certification of 1. Registration compliance. The sponsor certifies that applicable clinical trials have been registered on clinicaltrials.gov as required by law. 2. Results reporting compliance. The sponsor certifies that clinical trial results have been submitted as required. clinicaltrials.gov registration requirements. Most clinical trials of drugs and devices must be registered. Registration must occur no later than 21 days after the first patient is enrolled. Required information includes trial identification, recruitment status, eligibility criteria, and outcome measures. Results reporting requirements. Results must be submitted within 1 year of the primary completion date. Required information includes participant flow, baseline characteristics, outcome measures, and adverse events. Form 3674 must be submitted with INDs and IND amendments when applicable, NDAs, BLAs, and marketing applications. Other submissions as specified in guidance. Non-compliance with clinicaltrials.gov requirements can result in civil monetary penalties and submission delays. The certification places responsibility on the sponsor to ensure compliance. This slide introduces the 3 major content sections of an IND submission. These three areas represent the scientific foundation of the IND and correspond to the regulatory requirements in 21 CFR 312.23. Section 1, Non-Clinical Data, Pharmacology and Toxicology. This section provides the evidence that the drug is reasonably safe for human testing. Required elements include summary of pharmacology studies demonstrating the drug's mechanism of action, ADME studies characterizing absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion, short-term and long-term toxicology studies in appropriate animal species, reproductive toxicology studies, if applicable, genotoxicity studies, any other pharmacology/toxicology data relevant to safety. Section 2, Manufacturing Data, CMC/Quality. This section ensures FDA that a consistent, well-characterized product will be used in clinical trials. Required elements include drug substance information, identity, synthesis, characterization, specifications, drug product information, formulation, manufacturing process, specifications, analytical methods and validation, stability data supporting the proposed shelf life, container closure information. Section 3, Clinical Data. This section describes the proposed human studies and the information available to investigators. Required elements include clinical protocols with study design, endpoints, and statistical considerations, investigators' brochures summarizing all available information about the drug, informed consent documents, may be reviewed by IRB rather than FDA, prior human experience, if any. Each section will be examined in more detail in the following slides. This slide provides detail on the non-clinical content requirements for INDs. In the ECTD structure, non-clinical data appears in Module 4, Non-Clinical Study Reports, for complete study reports, and in Module 2.4, Non-Clinical Overview, and Module 2.6, Non-Clinical Written and Tabulated Summaries, for summary documents. The specific non-clinical studies required depend on several factors. Phase of clinical development, duration of proposed clinical studies, route of administration, patient population, including women of childbearing potential, nature of the drug, small molecule versus biologic. For an initial Phase 1 IND supporting short-duration studies, the core toxicology package typically includes single-dose toxicity studies, establishing the maximum tolerated dose in rodent and non-rodent species. Repeat-dose toxicity studies, conducted in 2 species, typically rat and dog or non-human primate, for a duration that supports the proposed clinical study duration. For a 2-week clinical study, 2-week animal studies are typically required. Genotoxicity studies, including in vitro bacterial mutagenicity, Ames test, in vitro mammalian cell assay, and in vivo study, typically bone marrow micronucleus. Safety pharmacology, core battery studies evaluating cardiovascular, HRG, telemetry, central nervous system, and respiratory function. As development progresses, additional studies are required. Longer duration chronic toxicity studies. Reproductive toxicology, fertility, embryo-fetal development, pre/postnatal development. Carcinogenicity studies, for chronic use drugs. Local tolerance studies, for specific routes. ICH guidelines, M3, S7A, S7B, S9, provide detailed guidance on non-clinical requirements. This slide describes the CMC, chemistry, manufacturing, and controls, content requirements for INDs. In the ECTD structure, CMC information appears in Module 3, Quality, with the quality overall summary in Module 2.3. CMC information is organized into 2 major sections. Drug substance, active pharmaceutical ingredient API. General information, nomenclature, INN, USAN, code names, chemical structure, molecular formula. Manufacture, description of manufacturing process, process controls, batch records. Characterization, elucidation of structure, physicochemical properties, impurity identification. Control of drug substance, specifications, analytical procedures, validation, batch analysis. Reference standards, description and certification. Container closure system, description of primary packaging for bulk drug substance. Stability, stability studies supporting shelf life, storage conditions. Drug product, finished dosage form. Description and composition, qualitative and quantitative composition of the dosage form. Pharmaceutical development, formulation development rationale, selection of excipients. Manufacture, manufacturing process, batch formula, process controls. Control of excipients, specifications for inactive ingredients. Control of drug product, specifications, analytical methods, batch analysis. Reference standards, if different from drug substance. Container closure system, primary packaging with compatibility studies. Stability, stability studies supporting expiry dating. An environmental assessment or categorical exclusion claim is also required. Important, CMC expectations evolve during development. Early Phase 1 INDs require less detailed information than later phase INDs or NDAs. FDA guidance addresses appropriate CMC detail for each phase. This slide describes the clinical content requirements for INDs. In the ECTD structure, clinical information appears in Module 5, Clinical Study Reports, and Module 2.5, Clinical Overview, and Module 2.7, Clinical Summary. The clinical section includes several components. Clinical protocols. The protocol is the foundation of the clinical section. It must include study objectives and endpoints, subject selection criteria, inclusion/exclusion, study design and methodology, dosing regimen and schedule, safety monitoring procedures, statistical analysis plan, data collection and management procedures. For an initial IND, at least one protocol must be included. As development progresses, additional protocols are submitted as protocol amendments. Investigator's Brochure, IB. The IB is a comprehensive document provided to clinical investigators summarizing physical, chemical, and pharmaceutical properties, pharmacological and toxicological effects in animals, pharmacokinetics and metabolism in animals, previous human experience, if any, guidance on recognizing and treating adverse reactions. The IB must be updated as new information becomes available. Prior human experience. If the drug has been studied in humans before, perhaps in another country or by another sponsor, a summary of that experience is included. Clinical investigator information. Form 1572 for each investigator, along with CVs documenting qualifications. The clinical section must demonstrate that the proposed study is adequately designed to evaluate safety and, where appropriate, efficacy, while protecting human subjects.